today? I'm doing so good. My name's Julie, and I'm here to create some really fun, really lighthearted art with you for the Ride Don't Hide week for the Canadian Mental Health Association. That was kind of hard to say. Anyways, we're keeping it really light this week, and the whole point of this is to just find activities that make us feel good. And making art always makes me feel good. When I'm sad, it makes me happy. When I'm sick, it makes me feel better. When I'm stuck on something, it helps me find clarity. When I'm mad, it makes me very, very, very unmad. It helps me let go of situations. It's a wonderful way to dive deep, get some really good thoughts going on, change our mental state, and just have like a super rad time doing it. So, way to go and show up today. I couldn't be happier that you're here painting with me. And we're kind of switching it up a little bit this time. Usually people know me for Julie's Paint Party, which is my business. You can go to juliespaintparty.com and find out all about that. And I have been kind of switching things up a little bit. So normally we just do painting, but today we're going to use a few different materials to make this work and to make this really hilarious, fun bicycle. So the first thing we need is we are going to draw this hilarious bike on with a Sharpie marker. And we are going to paint the whole background. I have some watercolor paints here. So I have some fun watercolors. Let's put those right there like this. And I have a cup of water that's behind me, but a cup of water for watercolors is a good idea. So I just have a red Solo cup. I always keep my paint cup and my drink cup very separate from each other because we don't want any unnecessary swooshing of the brush in our drink cup accidents. So my drink's over there, my water's here, I'm in the safe zone, okay? And then we're also going to use some colored pencils. So there's a lot of ways we can make this. The most important part is getting that bike on there. If you don't have a Sharpie marker, draw it on with colored pencils. Grab a black colored pencil, or maybe just a regular black marker would be fine. A crayon, just a regular pencil would be great. You could trace the lines in paint after if you wanted to. There's a lot of ways to do this. You don't have to have all the exact ingredients for this to work for all of this awesome mental health that we're looking for, okay? So I'll just put these away. And today I am working on my mixed media paper pad. And this pad's great because it holds marker, you can draw on it really well, it holds paint really well, and I just love having all of my stuff in one book or two or three different books. I have a few books on the go. It's nice that all of my artwork can stay in a place, especially when I'm practicing. If I'm just, doing fun projects like this, it doesn't always have to be on a canvas. It doesn't always have to be that super awesome finished piece. So this is a perfect mixed media paper pad is what I'm using. So if you don't have one of these and you are using a canvas, that's great too. You could use computer paper. You could use just watercolor paper. You could use all sorts of different things. You could use a piece of cardboard if you needed to. Wood, anything you want. Any kind of surface you want to draw on is fine by me. So with that said, let's get this party started. And whenever I'm using my mixed media paint pad, I'm just going to get this over here. I always have a roll of painter's tape on the go. So I get this at like the dollar store or Home Hardware or something. Wherever they sell painter's tape or tape in general, you should probably be able to find some tape there. And let's just get out of here. And I'm going to get out of your hair. You don't have to look at me the whole time. I'm just going, see ya. But I am here, so it's all good. Now, like I said, we're going to start this project with our Sharpie marker. And we're just going to do the best we can, okay? My circles are very imperfect, and I just don't want us to think that things need to be perfect to make this into a super fun bike. And that's why I chose this. I feel like a little bit more imperfection is what we're going for because, let's be honest, nobody's perfect. perfection is a total myth, and doing the best we can and finishing the project is what we're going for today. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a nice big wheel over here. And let's just go for it. I mean, if you wanted to. All right, so notice that I shooshed while I made my circle here. I feel like shooshing makes me relax a little bit, and it helps my lines just happen a little bit smoother. So I'm just going to double shoosh this. Just thicken up my tire a little bit. And the one good thing, see, I have to stay in one line, so I need to kind of maneuver around all sorts of places. You can absolutely just turn your paper as you need to make it work for you. So if you need to twist it around to get those circles the way you want them, then that is perfectly fine too. So one circle there, and I'm gonna hop over here and I'm gonna make just a little circle over here. So give that a second go around the corner, around the country. I don't know what to say. The convenience stores of Speedway. That always pops in my head anytime I go around anything. So you look at me, I'm just thickening my lines, and that's what happens. The more you work on something, the thicker they get, pretty much hands down every single time. So we got two circles going on. Let's put some spokes down. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna you know what? Let's wait for the spokes. Let's wait for the spokes, and let's. Okay, what's next here? Okay, next step. I'm just gonna put a little circle in the middle, and I'm gonna put a little circle in the middle over here. And those are gonna be kind of like our points where we're gonna connect our bike together, where we're gonna build our bike. So this area here, this is where we're gonna have our, it's gonna be our covered, bike chain here. So right in this spot, I'm gonna go ahead and make a sideways balloon shape, but it's gonna be nice and long. So I'm gonna go over, and I'm gonna connect these two lines together. And you see how I have this line here? I use that to my advantage, and I'm gonna make a whole bunch of other lines so I can color this in rainbow after. So what do I have? I have 6 colors. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll put one here, 6. So, you know, everybody's bike's gonna look different today. Nobody's is gonna look exactly the same. Let's just bank on that. We're all different individuals, so let's embrace our individuality by making what we make awesome. And I'm gonna put a circle here, and maybe I'll just put a little spiral in it just for a little decor. All right, a decor. So let's start with where the seat is gonna go. So our seat's gonna hover a little bit above our tire over here. So I'm gonna just take, you know, I can go over, my tire's about this tall, so I'm just gonna go up a little bit further, and I'm gonna make a line that goes down and attaches to my chain well here. Cool? Oh, cool. Then we are going to create a line that comes from the top of our wheel all the way down, and we're going to connect it over to our seat pole here, okay? So you can go to your little spoke center here. That's a good indicator. So if you go straight up And, you know, maybe like 3 inches above your wheel. 2 or 3 inches would be good. This is where my handlebars are going to be. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to go down and start to curve over and do a diagonal line towards the thing. And as I reach it, I'm going to pull back up and reach the seat. So it's kind of like a really big U. So I'm going to come down, over, and just before I reach the thing here, I'm going to pop it up. And I'm going to just give that, all my lines I'm probably just going to do twice so that they look nice and thick and solid. All right. And guys, this is such a really, here. Let me come in here for a second. Okay. It's so important to know that trusting the process is it's just a really important part of being an artist, of life. If we don't have trust, things make us feel anxious. They make us feel unsure. They can make us feel kind of sad and crazy. So really trusting the process is such a huge lesson, especially when we're creating stuff like this. So if your line doesn't look exactly like mine, it's okay. I promise it's okay. We're just taking this one line at a time, and this bike is going to look wonky no matter what. So the best part about using a sharper is that we're forced. We are forced into trusting the process. Using a pencil means we can erase, but using a Sharpie, we can't erase. And that's a really good thing. So I really want you to embrace this process and know, even if it doesn't look exactly like mine, it's so perfect. It's perfect exactly the way it is. All right? So I'm out. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to attach my thing up here down to my wheel well. So over here, I'm going to push it out just a little bit. So if I go back to my dot and pull up, I'm going to go over a little bit, and I'm going to pull down and attach the top, whatever you want to call this, this piece of machinery right here. I'm going to attach this to my center of my wheel here. And I made it a little thicker at the top, made it a little thinner down there. Just gave it a little steeze, you know, love my steeze. And then I'm going to make a line attach from this pole down to my, what do I call it again? My chain well is what I'm going to call it. So I'm going to go down, attach that, and then I'm going to put a line that attaches these two right in the center there. Cool? Cool. Now, we got to put some handlebars on this bad boy. So we are going to kind of curve around and make a U around the edge here. So you can come around this way as long as you're confident that you're going to hit the top of this line. Good to go. If not, you can start on your line, pull over, and then pull around, or just start here and pull up and over. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start here. It's pretty much in alignment with the edge of my piece there. So I'm going to go, and I'm going to stop short. So I'm not going to go as far as this guy. I'm going to pull over and around. And then on the ends of my handlebars, I'm going to give 2 handles. So 2 long empty rectangles are going to go here, so we can color those in after. Now you can leave it like that, and that's perfectly fine. Or you can make it kind of make sense, which it still doesn't kind of really make sense, but you can attach it over there and just pretend that there's something that this bike has been attached to. Before we make our basket, let's make our seat. So our seat has a straight bottom, and it has a little curve at the front, and it goes up in the back and curves back around. See that? So I made a straight bottom, curved, little curve up, and then back around. In the back of our bike, we're actually going to make a nice long line that attaches straight to our wheel here. So I'm going to go and now I think our bike is pretty much put together. So let's add a basket. Now, the basket I made before is really wonky, so I really want you to just know that it's okay however this turns out. And I'm going to just kind of hover it in front of my wheel bar or my handlebars over here. So I'm going to start right underneath and I'm going to make a little curved line this way. I'm going to pull down on both sides. And then I'm going to attach. So obviously I missed attaching, so I'm just going to fix up my lines a little bit here. And then I'm going to make a nice basket in the front, so I'm going to make a curve the other way and attach those two sides. Ta-da! Basket in action! And I'm just like make some pretend hooks here. Maybe it's attached with like a couple little wires or pieces of metal, I'm not sure. And mine is a weaved basket, so I'm just going to throw in some random lines. So I like to throw in just a few lines that are going up and down in a few different spots. And then I'll throw in a couple curvy lines. And you know what? I love this style because there's no rhyme or reason. It totally gives us the idea that it is a weave basket without getting too detailed with it. It just is what it is. There's a couple some hashtags in there, some unfinished hashtags, and that's the way, I like it. So obviously we need to put some spokes on our wheels. You can go ahead and start from the middle and just do one of these out to the edges, but I'm going to try my best to cross through my wheel center all the way through and make some pizza slices as best as I can. So now that I have that like sectioned off, then maybe I'm going to keep going all the way through here. Let's make one through here. And one last one through there. Are they all even? Nope. Is that okay? Yep. And maybe I just want to make my circle a little bit more accentuated in the center there. So I'm going to do the same thing with this one, but I'm going to actually use this line here to continue over and just finish off my wheel spoke on that side. Let's do it again over here and here. We're cutting pizza right now. I'm going to stop that one so it doesn't go through. And you know what? I think I'm going to just leave it like that. I'm going to leave it. And then I'm going to accentuate this circle over here. And I'm going to leave it behind my thing, whatever this is. My chain well is what I'm calling it. All right. Now, balloons. Balloons are super, super fun. And I just want you to, you can make as many balloons as you want for this. The way I like to make a balloon is I will either do it two ways. So I start at the bottom, I pull up and over, and I come back to the bottom, and then I make a little triangle. So that's one way to make a balloon. Or you can make a little triangle, pull up and over, and do it that way. And I like the dynamic of some of the balloons kind of crisscrossing over each other. So maybe you want to just kind of put a half a balloon behind another balloon. And I always like the idea of like a little one kind of flying off over here. Now, for balloons, I'm just going to take my string and I'm going to attach them all down to the same spot down here. They can weave in and out of each other. And then at the end, I'm going to put two little circles to make it a little bow around the end over there. And I'm going to have a couple hanging off of my handlebars as well. So this guy is going to a party. Whoever rides this bike is obviously so flippin' cool because he's got this, or she's got this super colorful, awesome bike with balloons. It's obviously going to a party. Or maybe not. Maybe she just bought balloons because she's a happy camper and just wanted balloons in her life to make everybody else happy around her. Who knows? It would be quite nice to see this riding down the road, I must say. All right. So there we have it. We have our bicycle made. She is looking fantastic, I must say. And now we can move on to our watercolor paints, and we're going to color the whole background in watercolors. Now, I used a couple different colors. Honestly, just use what you have. It does not have to look the same as mine. And I'm going to be coloring right over top of my bike. That's the best part about Sharpies, is that they're so solid that any kind of watercolor paint is going to go right over top of it. Now, I have this brush here. You can use any brush. This is a nylon brush. I literally just like went through my drawer, like rifled and grabbed this one. So that's what I'm going to use. Anything that has like a soft bristle on it is awesome for watercolors. So I'm going to use a mixture of like orange, and I'm going to put some orange on the bottom, and I'm going to mix some yellow in with it. I might even put a little bit of pink. You might want to use some blues or greens, or just pink or just orange. Whatever you want is so perfect. The way I get started, I just grab my brush, I sloop it in my water, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll grab some of this orange here. So it fills up with water. I kind of like to fill up my brush. Now, when I'm creating backgrounds, I often use like a grid pattern with my paintbrush strokes. So I'll start at the bottom here, and that's what's so good about having the paper around the edges, is that when I peel it off, it's going to just make that nice straight edge there. So I'm just going to kind of go back and forth with my watercolors. And you can see I pull side to side, up and down. Side to side, up and down. I don't want it to be too thick or too dark. I just want it to be nice and light. It's totally okay to go inside the lines of anywhere that's actually going to be colored in with colored pencils later. And yeah, it's okay to mix in whatever colors you want. So like I said, I'm going to use a little yellow too. So I'm going to grab a little yellow. And that's what's so sweet about watercolors, is that they're really easy to mix together and make some really beautiful lines and really expressive brush strokes. So you could scribble it in, and you can really just use whatever colors you want. It's all good. I'm not worrying too much about working, like going through my balloons or my bike and stuff, because it's also very easy to color over. Now, if you don't have watercolor paints like this, maybe you just have acrylic craft paints, well, that is perfectly good too. So if you have, let's say something like this, acrylic paints, you can just put a dab, like a little dot of color onto a palette and mix in a whole bunch of water with it. These are water-based paints, so you can get the same results with just straight up acrylics as well. So my goal here is to keep it a little bit on the darker side on the bottom. So I got my orange happening down here, and it's okay to mix in some yellow down here too. But I'm keeping my orange at the bottom, and I'm moving up to like a nice light yellow at the top. And what I did on my original painting is I steezed it up a little bit with some pink at the top. So I have this really fun like hot pink here. Take a little bit of that. I can swoosh in a little pink. I love pink, yellow, and orange together. I think it's a sweet, wicked combo. So I'm gonna add in a little bit of pink around the edges as well. Just vibe it up. I'm gonna vibe it up, buttercup. And one great thing too is that watercolors actually dry really, really fast. So all this, even though it's still a little bit wet right now, it's gonna dry really, really fast. And the more you push your water around, so now that I'm getting towards the end, I'm just gonna fill in some of these little white spaces. I don't mind if there's a few little white spaces still poking through. So If you want to leave some white, that's great too. But I can go back over it, and I'm just moving around some of that excess water that I have on here. If you find that it's not drying fast enough, you can also grab a hairdryer and do like a zzz, hair dry it up a bit. So anywhere where I see moisture, I'm just taking my brush and swooping right over it. I'm basically done putting paint on my brush. Now I'm just kind of moving it around. And I just love how free I feel right now, just getting in there and moving that paint around and not giving a care in the world about exactly where things are going. It's just letting loose and letting that paintbrush do its business. So you can see it's pretty light on there. I didn't go over the top. I do just want a little bit more pink though. I'm not gonna lie. I really like the pink up there. Just a little extra pink at the top. I just want a little extra. All right. Here we go. Perfect. Ta-da! I'm loving it. So that's pretty much all we're going to use our watercolor paints for. If for some reason you don't have colored pencils at home, you could absolutely do this whole thing in watercolor. So just to show you, you know what, I might even grab, no, I'll just use the same brush. I have a napkin here that I'm gonna rinse this off on. And we can have fun using the watercolors inside our balloons as well. So before we whip out our pencils, I'll just show you, it's always really fun to add some different colors into smaller spaces. So what I mean by that is, I'll take my brush and I'm going to start with like a little bit of orange. Now, the less water you use inside your watercolors, the darker it's going to be. So I just put a little bit of water on the tip of my brush, and I'm going to really kind of dive in and grab a good amount of orange in there. And I'm just going to kind of swipe it around the sides of my balloon. Then I'm going to grab a little yellow, and right in the center here, I'm going to bring that yellow and orange together. So it starts to kind of melt. See how it kind of melts together there? Sorry, my lights are kind of getting in the way, but there's like this really cool process that happens where with watercolors you get all these different style brushstroke marks. And I wonder if I can bring it up to the camera and so that you can see it a little bit. Oh, there we go. You can see it just this colors, and it's a little orange on the sides and it's a little more light in the center, and that to me just gives me the idea that there's a lighter part of the balloon. So anywhere where you think the light part of the balloon is, you can make it a little lighter. For example, I could grab a little bit of purple and just stick to the bottom area of my balloon here. So I can go up and around the side, but see how I'm leaving this little circle area open? And then I can grab a little bit of pink and mix those two colors in together. So I have a lighter area and a darker area. I could even grab, let's see here, even a little bit of light pink. And I just kind of tap and pull a little bit around. If you want to darken up those edges, you could I can grab a little blue and add it in there. It really makes a really cool design. I really love how that works. Let's try one more. Something like more drastic. So for this one, I'm going to grab a little bit of green and do that same thing. I'm going to just work it around the edge here. See, I'm kind of just tapping and pulling and leaving this top spot open. And then I can grab a little bit more of that yellow. Green and yellow go really good together. and mix those together. Two birds of a feather we mix together. And that's a lot more drastic of a change, but it looks really, really cool. And even with the green and blue go really, really well together. So you can even pull in a little bit of blue at the bottom there too. And make all sorts of different color combinations. That works so good. And I love it. I love it so much. So that's all I'm gonna do for the watercolor part of this project. Now I have a whole bunch of colors over here, but I'm just gonna grab my Prismacolor pencils, my colored pencils, and I like to go in and I'm just gonna grab the colors of the rainbow here. So I have red, I have orange and yellow, and then after yellow comes green and blue and purple. Purple. I got some purple right here. So that's what my rainbow bike is going to be here. Now, I am obsessed with the color teal or turquoise, so I'm going to do turquoise on the either side of my rainbow colors here. And you know, whenever I'm working with colors, I always like to bring them out. I'm just going to put them right beside me right here. And I'm going to start at the top and work my way back. So let's start with this red. And honestly, you can start really, really light if you want to. Just color it in really lightly. And from there, just kind of build on that darkness. So you could leave it like that, a nice light colored pencil. Or you can just really get in there. If you give it a good push, you can make it look really, really vibrant. And again, the word solid. And really nice when you push with your pencil. But I always like to do it layer by layer. So I will put in a nice light layer of orange. And when I'm using colored pencils, I usually do like either long strokes or I do little circles to kind of fill in those spaces. And the more I color it, I just push a little harder and a little harder until it looks really, really solid. Solid. Yellow. And you can see it's coloring right over top of those watercolors, no problem. Just make sure that, you know, I can still feel a little dampness on my hands when I'm doing this. So, you know, they don't have to be perfectly dry, but they dry really fast anyway, so you're gonna be okay. Yellow, green. Nice little light layer. Darken it up a bit. Yes. What comes after green? A blue. Whoa! Oh, ah. Drop my blue pencil. Oh, I love blue. Blue is such a great color. And you know, when you put all these beautiful rainbow spectrum colors on your page, what a joy that is, let me tell you. And then I have some violet. Violet, you're turning violet. Violet, color that in. Oh, and it just, the thing I love about the Prismacolor pencils, I have to say, is that they're just so smooth. They're kind of soft. You have to be careful. You're not allowed to drop these pencils because they break really easy. But man, they go on really sweet. And then I'm just gonna do some turquoise on each side here. So it's more, it does look a little green, but it's a greeny blue. Now, if you wanted to get a little bit fancier with your coloring, you could blend a couple colors too. So if I start really lightly with my turquoise over here, really light, darken it up. So whenever I'm making a gradient, I do a light coat and then I darken it up at the edge and I continue to lighten up as I color forward. And then I can grab some yellow and do the same thing coming in from the other side. So I'm going to have like this little transition here from turquoise to yellow, where there might be a little bit of green action going on in the center there. And I just kind of go back and forth. I'm going to bring these colors together. I love the gradient vibes. It's back to yellow, and I'm going to really color it in really hard, so then I'm going to get this nice colorful merging of yellow into turquoise, which ends up being a little bit of green in the center, but it looks pretty cool. Whoever's riding this bike is so good. And whatever color you want to make this little spiral and all, I'm going to grab some orange and just orange it up. Now, what happens, you know, when you start coloring over top of your Sharpie marker, sometimes it can get a little, it looks a little like it gets lost a little bit. You can't even see that because it's so dark, you don't have to care about it too much. But if it does bother you, you can just grab your Sharpie and give it another go right over top, anywhere, and just really bring that black back. Bring it back, the black. Bring back the black. So for my seat, I was thinking super retro, and I grabbed this like, oh, that's not the color I was looking for. Where are you, yellow ochre? Yellow ochre is such a great color. It's like just like a deep yellow. It's almost like a browny yellow. It's perfect for vintage bicycles. So that's what color I'm going to do the seat here. Again, just a light layer to start. And then the more I color it in, I just push a little harder. And really get in around all those edges, fill in the white. Haha, perfect. And vintage vibes are going to continue into my basket. So my basket's going to be a little mixture. I got some brown and I got some yellow here. So just like I did down here in my bicycle where I kind of merged the colors together a little bit, that's what I'm going to do in my basket up here. But I always use my lighter color first. So I'm going to use my yellow ochre and give this basket a once over. So I'm going to follow along the edge of the basket. I like to keep it a little bit harder, so I put a little more pressure at the top, and as I ease down into the center, it gets a little lighter. And then I'm going to go the opposite way in the basket. So I'm going to color in vertically up and down in my basket. Same deal though. On the sides, I'm going to push a little harder as I fade into the center. And then I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a go. We can go in opposite directions. So we're going to go vertical and then horizontal. Mada! And then I can mix my brown in. So again, I'm just going to start light at the bottom, and I'm going to mix my brown up into my yellow. A little bit darker at the bottom, and as I move my way up, it's going to kind of merge with that yellow at the top. And I'm going to do the same thing in the basket. I'm just going to lightly color in vertically. So whenever I use colored pencils, I always do a few layers. So I do a light layer, I do like a medium layer, and then I do a nice hard layer of colored pencils. So right now, I'm putting on my medium layer of brown. And then to do my once over, I'm going to just use my yellow, and I'm just going to go over top of all of it. So whenever you take a light colored pencil and just color over top of your colors here, it really helps blend them together. And it creates a really nice blending of the two colors. You can take the brown again and kind of do the sides again a little bit. You could even go in and go along with your black Sharpie marks. And since we're coloring over top of it, like I said before, you can grab your Sharpie marker and just re-follow along some of these little hashtags that we made before. And bring it back to life. We'll bring it back to life. Whatever color you want the little handlebars to be. I'm going to do turquoise because, like I said, I love it. I love the turquoise. Teal, turquoise, whatever you want to call it. What is it called? Aquamarine. Aquamarine is this color here. Color those in. And I'm going to use the same technique for the balloons as I did for my basket. So each one is going to be a different color, and each one is just like my balloons here. I'm going to use a darker color around the bottom and a lighter color to vibe up the center. So my first balloon is going to be green. So I'm going to try and grab, I have this true green here, and I'm going to use some yellow too. So I got my two colored pencils that I'm going to use. Now, I also have a pencil sharpener here. If you have a pencil sharpener, that is really great. If you don't, you can always use, and please, 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 if you are a kid, you get your parents to do this for you, but you can sharpen your pencils with an X-Acto knife. You can always kind of shave away from it, like whittling a stick. I do not suggest that, but you know, if you're really hard up, that is totally something you could do. But hopefully you have a pencil or a colored pencil sharpener on hand, and you'd be good to go with that as well. Now, again, for this guy, I'm going to just start with a really, really light color of green. I'm going to go around the balloon. So I kind of, you know, go down to the bottom and come back around, and I'm going to leave this empty space up at the top here. So I start to kind of swerve my green around and come up into a circle here. So I start on each side, I go around the contour of my balloon, I start to kind of swoop underneath, and I'm going with the shape of the balloon. So when I get really, really light in the center with my green. You might not be able to see that very well right now, but when I start to darken it up around the edges, and work my way into the center here, you can really see that it starts to get this really nice highlight in the center. And that's what we're going for. We want to go for a nice highlight here. Now, before I color it in all green, I want to take that yellow and I'm going to mix it in. So I'm going to start in the middle, and I'm going to work my yellow in a circle out until it starts to kind of blend with my green here. And you can take the yellow and color the whole thing in to get those colors to mix together. That light color really helps merge those colors together. And check it out, I have this like really cool highlighted balloon. Now, if that seems complicated, no worries, man. Just color it one color. It's okay. It's totally okay. All right, so next color. What am I gonna use? What am I gonna use? I think I want to do pink. I want to do pink. So I have like this light pink here, and let's see what other color pink I got. Oh, let's see. Oh, magenta. Oh, I'm gonna do magenta in pink. And I need a little sharpen on this guy too. Little lady, my little magenta lady. And I'm gonna, again, really, really lightly color around the edges of my balloon here. Down to the bottom and up, back and around. And I start to really find that contour in the balloon. So I start to swoop back and forth. And then I start to kind of make these nice circular motions. And sometimes you got to go back and forth a few times, you know, but I try and get really, really light in the center. I might even stop before I get to the center there. And then I go back and I'm just going to darken up those sides and that bottom part. So whenever you're creating highlights, you have to think to yourself, well, where's the light hitting? If the light's hitting the top, it would be a little bit darker on the bottom, right? And around the sides. So I really want that light area in the center. I'm going to take this pink, and just like I did with the yellow, I'm going to start in the center. I'm going to make nice big circles here. I'm going to start to circle out this pink. Woohoo! All the way to the edges. And all the way to the ends of the balloon. I can go back in with my magenta and kind of, you can darken it up a little bit at the bottom if it's not dark enough. Take that pink and bring it all together. Together, we're gonna find our way. You and I, together, taking the time each day. We're coloring balloons to fly in the sky. Bringing our colors together. You and I, together. Okay, so I want to make a blue and green balloon, and I'm going to grab some blue. I'm going to grab my blue here, and I'm going to grab green. I'm going to grab like a lighter lime green, and I'm going to start again really light, and go around these edges. Back in and darken them up again. Listen, sometimes, especially in these little areas here where, we're switching colors and we're going back and forth, and maybe you're kind of getting lost a little bit, I really just want you to come back to center, and I really want you to just trust your heart. If you wanted to do all pink balloons, which I just realized I didn't do the bottom here, or all red balloons, all orange or green or blue or whatever you wanted to do, and if you only want to make them one color, that's fine. I'm here just to kind of guide you along to try and make the best picture that you can make, and sometimes that just means that we use one color in each balloon, and that's okay. Honestly, guys, it's all good. I can't express, it's really just the actual coloring in and the motion of the coloring that helps us find that clarity. So please, if at any time you're feeling frustrated by all these different colors and different methods, let go of whatever I'm saying in that department and just use one color at a time, and just find that peace and solitude in the actual process of the coloring. That's what's going to get you where you want to go. All right, one last balloon. I'm going red and orange. So I'm going to start with some red here. Grab some of that orange. And you see I kind of go faster and faster through these every time. It's all the same thing. We put the darker color on first, go around the edges, make some circles, add the lighter color in the center, and make it circle out so that those two colors come together so very beautifully. Finish it off with a little red bow. And don't you know, we got our awesome, sawsome, blossom bicycle here. So, what are some other things that we can do? Like I said before, I can grab my Sharpie. I can cruise around these edges. And, maybe some of our paints or colored pencils got inside our black. And you know, it depends on the color. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Sometimes it looks perfectly fine. Like the rest of my bike looks pretty good, but there's a few spots where the colors kind of overtake my black a little bit, so I can just take my marker and go back over those places. And maybe there's a few other things that you want to put in there. So, like for instance, if I can get this in here. For instance, you could put some flowers. You could put a little puppy in the basket, or maybe some flowers in the basket. You could add some clouds in the sky, or maybe you want to put more of a background on there or something like that. There's a lot of things that you can do. And honestly, even if you're not finished yet, if you get through this whole project today, you absolutely won the game of art. So sometimes it's really hard to finish. And that's what's so great about the Ride Don't Hide project is we can really get out there. It's okay. We can be in our own zone. We can be in our own lane and still win and still feel good about it. So I really want you to take that away today with you, just knowing that even if you chose other colors or if it looks completely different than mine, that's so great because you are you and you really need to embrace that, okay? Now, I hope you ride on into the sunset today and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Now, when you're done your painting or your picture, whatever you want to call it, I would really like you to sign it. I think it's really important that we sign our paintings. So I'm just going to put a little JR down at the bottom for Julie Robinson. And I just want to let you guys know that if you go to juliespaintparty.com/kids club, I have a free art camp coming up from June 28th to July 2nd, 2001. So if you go to juliespaintparty.com/kids club, you can sign up there and get all the supply lists and everything that you need to join me for a whole week of art, of fun kids art. Okay? So I hope to see you soon. And if you finish your project, please go to my Facebook page, juliespaintparty.com, or sorry, facebook.com/juliespaintparty, at juliespaintparty, and post your picture in there. I want to see how you did. I can't wait to see your finished products. All right, friends, I'll see you later. Have an awesome day. Bye.